shift some, if not all, of those players, where will they look to strengthen?
Yeah, look, we should reiterate that the focus totally after they brought in Bryan Mbeumo was player sales. But having said that, throughout this transfer window, we have been saying that they are trying to strengthen in the number 9 position. They do want to bring in a striker. They have explored the conditions of a deal for a number of strikers, including Aston Villa's Ollie Watkins, Victor Gyökeres of Sporting, who of course is on his way to Arsenal, Nicholas Jackson from Chelsea, though his price could be really prohibitive, and interestingly RB Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, who's been linked not only with Arsenal but with Manchester United as well for the last 3 seasons or so. Now the interesting thing about this is the director of recruitment at Manchester United is a gentleman called Christopher Vivell. He knows Sesko really, really well because he actually signed Sesko as a 16-year-old when he was at Red Bull Salzburg. So if you look at United's movements in this transfer window so far, the players that they brought in the forward areas, Matheus Cunha and Bryan Mbeumo, Ruben Amorim wants them to play in the 2 number 10 roles. But significantly, they are both players who have had significant Premier League experience compared to some of the other signings that they made in the forward areas in recent seasons, the likes of Joshua Zirkzee, Rasmus Højlund and Anthony. You just get the impression that maybe Manchester United feel that they need to have learned lessons from what's happened in the past and bring in players who are ready to go in this transfer window. Exactly. But look, the potential recruitment of a striker, of a number 9, that is likely to happen later in the window, if at all. I'm not saying that is definitely going to happen, but United definitely in the market to bring one in.
Right, talking of strikers, next. But first, Manchester United forward Marcus Rashford has confessed Manchester United. It's a long loan move to Barcelona. The deal includes an option to buy him next summer, which we understand to be around £26 million. And Gary is behind us and has been listening in to the new Barcelona player. Gary, what did he have to say? I mean, it was quite an introduction from that telephone box, wasn't it?
Yeah, just to clarify, this is not the last Gary, who was the last Englishman to play for Barcelona. Gary Lineker, of course. This is Gary Cottrell, who's never played for Barcelona or Manchester United or Aston Villa and was never likely to. But yeah, what a tour de force that was from Marcus Rashford just behind me. It lasted a good 30 minutes. He looked smart. He was very, very happy, smiling all over his face, handled the questions really well and just spoke about how much he's enjoyed being in Barcelona for the last 48 hours or so. He arrived on Sunday night. He says it's a great dressing room, great players who he's already getting along with, a great management team. The club, he says, one of the top clubs in the world, a club that he is honoured to play for. He wants to win things for the fans. He wants to win things for himself, of course. And as I say, lots and lots of questions just about how happy he is after a summer of speculation, after hearing that he only wanted to leave Manchester United for one place, and that was Barcelona. Just how happy he was to be at this iconic club.
I want to win the biggest trophies, and I feel like Barcelona, the club, is obviously a huge club in the football world. So it's the perfect place to go and win the biggest trophies. And you see with the team last season, they have a very young team, ambitious team, and you know I want to come here and add my qualities, my personality, and try to improve the team and help them win. It's a unique club, so everything about the club is special, and yeah, of course, to wear this shirt is an honour, and I am ready to do my best for the club. And like I said, it for me is about winning, and you know, all my life growing up, and you know, I've of course watched many Barcelona games, and the club is about winning. Of course, it's about enjoyment, to express yourself, and you know, the players that have worn this shirt, they have all expressed themselves in their own way for the club. But ultimately, the club is built on winning, and you know, I'm here to try and add to this history.
And Gary, you mentioned he looked happy. The body language was good, wasn't it? He looks like he's ready for a new challenge. Very different from the Rashfords that we've seen at United and training by himself. What did he have to say about Manchester United?
Yeah, 100%, Gail, you're right. And I think if you were here, the aura was even more so that he was so happy that this could be another good part in what's been an up and down recent history in his career. If I move slightly out the way and we just go into that area over there, you can see that's where that 30-minute or so meeting the media was held. That whole area that you could see around the outside was packed with journalists and cameramen. I would say about 100 journalists and cameras, most of them from Spain, and virtually all of the questions, in fact, all of the questions were from Spanish reporters or Catalan reporters. No English reporters were allowed to ask questions, and I think that's because there was a cooperation here between Manchester United and Barcelona, and in fact Marcus Rashford's own personal representatives who were here for this, going around asking what questions were going to be asked. And I think they wanted to keep it all positive. They wanted to talk about going forward rather than looking back. And I think that's why, understandably, at the unveiling of this player, which they've worked so hard to get Barcelona, they decided in the end not to allow any English questions, just in case there was any negative slant to the questions about what went wrong at Manchester United, about how determined were you to come to Barcelona, about have you got a message for the Manchester United fans. They wanted to look ahead to Barcelona, but he was asked about Manchester United, why he was a different his demeanour was different now to what it was maybe a year ago, 6 months ago, and what he felt about the whole situation at Manchester United. And he tried to keep it positive.
I don't have anything bad to say about Manchester United. I think it's been an important part of not only my career but just my life. You know, so I'm grateful for the opportunity to play for them. But you know, football is the same as life, and not everything, you know, goes as simple as you may have thought. And yeah, this is my next step, my next chapter. And you know, right now I'm in a good place. I'm happy. I'm healthy. And like I said, I am eager to get going. You know, it's one thing to say you are, you know, motivated and determined, but these are things that, you know, they can change day to day, depending on how you're feeling. But really, the thing that I bring back to my life, not just the sport, is the discipline. And you know, the discipline is something that stays regardless of if you wake up, you don't feel like it today. The discipline is the thing that keeps you going. So, you know, like I said, my overall message is that I'm happy to be here.
Well, Gary, there has been quite the fanfare, hasn't there, today? Everyone has got very, very excited. I guess the question we have to ask, though, is are Barcelona actually going to be able to register Rashford?
Excited is the word, Gail. It was so packed over there and it's so warm and humid here, as you know, that's why I've turned red. So apologies for that. It is very, very exciting, very, very warm. Yeah, he talked about being happy and healthy, didn't he, Marcus Rashford, in that last burst that we heard from him. But Barcelona's finances, once again, are neither happy or healthy because they're having the same old story with Barcelona and whether or not they can actually afford the wages that he's going to be on. Big wages, obviously they're not the wages he's reduced by, we understand, around 15% or so the wages he's on at Manchester United, but they're still going to pay all those wages, so it's a hefty bill. And they're in breach at the moment of La Liga financial rules. They have to earn in the Liga what they spend, and for another season, and we've heard it time and again, they haven't done that. They need to get some money into their bank accounts and quick to register Marcus Rashford. Otherwise, the rules say they won't be able to register him. They've got plans, they say, to do that. Executive box tickets, the new stadium, which isn't complete yet. That's another issue. Selling players, getting other players out on loan to get their wages off the books. So they're fairly relaxed that by the time the season starts, they will have registered Marcus Rashford. In the meantime, he's getting on a plane with his new teammates tomorrow to fly to the Far East for 3 friendly games in the Far East, which, of course, because they're not official competition games, he can play in, and we understand he will play in.
Brilliant. Gary, thank you very much, and you're looking absolutely fabulous. Don't you worry about that. Now, James, with Rashford gone, What about the other outgoings that we're expecting at Manchester United?
Yeah, well, look, with Manchester United, we've known all summer that there were 5 players who were told to keep away from pre-season training, to search for a future away from Old Trafford. 1 now has gone in Marcus Rashford joining Barcelona. The other 4 on your screen behind you still remain. Let's start with Alejandro Garnacho, just 21 years old. He's got a contract until 2028. Huge potential, Argentina international already, but Ruben Amorim has made it clear the future isn't for him at Old Trafford. Now, we know Chelsea were interested in the player and are still interested in the player, but they have signed a player like Jamie Gittins, very similar mould of a player. Doesn't totally rule Chelsea out, but likely scenario if Chelsea come back in is that they sell some of their current crop of players. Aston Villa, another club, remaining interested. Thing with Garnacho is that Manchester United signed him for very little as a youngster. So regardless of what profit they make, it's going to be big profit, which they can then use to reinvest in the squad. So even if, say, they valued this player at around like 60, 70 million at the start of the year, and maybe that's dropped to, say, 40 million pounds, it's still, they'll see it as pretty good business. So Alejandro Garnacho is one of those players still surplus to requirements at United, but he's not the only one, is he?
Yeah. James mentioned about Garnacho and Chelsea. Well, we know that Jadon Sancho was at Chelsea last season on loan. They didn't take up the obligation to buy, so Manchester United received a £5 million penalty fee from Chelsea because they didn't take up the obligation. United still want to release Jadon Sancho. They want to sell him on a permanent deal, if at all possible. Dialogue is open between Juventus and Manchester United over the potential signing of Jadon Sancho, as it is between Jadon Sancho's representatives and Juventus. Now, Juventus are working on sales before they can do a deal for Sancho, because their big priority in this window was to sign Francisco Conceição from Porto. They've effectively done that now, but to bring in someone like Sancho...
Marcus Rashford completes loan move to Barcelona from Man United as Red Devils outcast bids for career kickstart after being frozen out by Ruben Amorim. Marcus Rashford has said it will be a joy to play for Barcelona and feels like he is at home after completing a season-long loan move from Manchester United. While Barcelona have initially completed a loan move for Rashford, who had spoken openly about his desire to join the club, the Spanish Giants have an option to make the move permanent next summer. Barcelona announced the move with Rashford standing inside an iconic red telephone box picking up the phone during an unveiling video, with the forward saying, "Yeah, you can tell them now, it's official." After leaving the telephone box, Rashford said, "Let's do this, Visca el Barca." Speaking at his unveiling as a Barcelona player, Rashford expressed his excitement at signing for the Spanish Giants and said it will be a joy to play for the club. "I am very excited. I think it's a club where people's dreams come true," Rashford said. "What the club stands for means a lot to me as well, and it feels like I'm at home, and this is a big factor in my choice. It's a family club, people are comfortable here, and it's a good place for people to show their skills. I try to make decisive actions and fast dynamic plays, and I always like good football, so I've always been a fan of watching Barcelona from a young age. It's going to be a joy for me to play here, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it." Barcelona confirmed broad details of the agreement on their website. FC Barcelona and Manchester United have reached an agreement for the loan of the player Marcus Rashford until June 30, 2026, a Barcelona statement read. The agreement also establishes an option to buy the English forward. The player have signed his contract as a Barça player this afternoon at a private meeting in the presence of the FC Barcelona president, Joan Laporta, the director of the football area, and other board members. Rashford is understood to have taken 15% pay cut from his €315,000 a week Man United wage to join Barcelona. Barcelona's option to buy him next summer is understood to be €30 million. Rashford, 27, returned to Old Trafford at the end of last season after an impressive loan spell at Aston Villa during the second half of the campaign. He scored 3 goals and contributed 4 assists across all competitions as Unai Emery's side reached the Champions League quarter-finals. However, his Villa Park form was not enough to convince United boss Ruben Amorim to give him a second chance, with the Portuguese eager to move the England international on this summer. Rashford made up part of Amorim's bomb squad, a select group of United exiles with no future in the manager's first-team plans. Members of the bomb squad have been told to conduct pre-season training alone at United's Carrington base, only when Amorim is not there. Rashford's United predicament marked an alarming downfall from the sprightly 18-year-old who burst onto the scene by scoring twice on his Premier League debut against Arsenal in February 2016, when he was just 18. That saw him tipped for stardom, although he has yet to maintain the consistency required to be considered among the top players in the world. While he was a regular fixture in former England manager Gareth Southgate's sides as an integral part of 3 Lions' run to the World Cup semi-finals in 2018 and the final of Euro 2020, he has fallen out of favour since Thomas Tuchel's arrival. With the 2026 World Cup on the horizon, Rashford will be hoping for a fresh start as he looks to secure his spot on the plane to North America next summer. A new environment may also bring the best out of the forward, after he spoke out in April 2024 having been subjected to months of abuse. A post on X, formerly Twitter, read "The way Marcus Rashford is being treated is absolutely disgusting. It's cruel. It's abuse." Rashford responded by saying, "I appreciate your support. It is abuse and has been for months. Enough is enough." He will join a Barcelona side hoping to defend their La Liga title they won in German coach Hansi Flick's first season at the club.